Hello friends, it is the 15th of October and we had our first snowfall. Thankfully most of it's melting off. In the city it really didn't hit that hard. The city's always warmer. Where I live further out, we had a pretty big snowfall. And the weatherman sure was taken by surprise. You know, the Weather Service there's a good saying, the Weather Service created to make fortune tellers look legit. And way too much truth in that. A little bit. I'm toward the center of Moscow. So, things to cover. What do we got going on in the insane world? Well, of course, FEMA being bankrupt is just icing on the cake, and the cherries being the $750 for each family, if they survived long enough to claim that money. But thankfully for them, the insurance companies usually go bankrupt, so they'll get that money at least that way. Yeah, dark humor, isn't it? But so, by the way, if the people in the southeast haven't figured out that they're just fodder for their masters in Washington, they damn well should by this point. You know, in Russia, whenever a disaster hits like this, not only is the government maximizing everything it can to save the people, but it of course takes all private help it can get. Meanwhile, FEMA is threatening arrest of any pilots and private helicopters trying to come in there and help people out. And by the way, the government in Russia will also build people new housing. If the village has been destroyed, landslide, what have you, they will build a new house for people, build a new village. Or if an apartment building, even when there's an explosion because some idiot decides to hotwire a gas system and a gas tank blows up, and it's, you know, the liquid gas natural gas is under extremely high pressure. So when it blows big. It usually takes out a wing of an apartment building, unfortunately. But there are idiots that try to do things themselves, half-assed. So, government usually finds people apartments and buys them apartments, things like that. So it takes care of the population. So you know you're paying taxes that are going to what needs to be done, and not to hell knows what, and for hell knows whom. Yeah, some nice cars in this alley, way beyond my range. And again, I don't have a driver either. Had a driver once for a while, but I was director of supply chain in Halliburton. But such that is. I gave him up because I needed to hire another buyer. So gave that up. And never have one since. But, so anyways, where was I? Yeah, so, you know, right now, until at least the elections are over, however many attempts on Trump's life there's already been, at least until the elections are over, I think everything's going to be more or less quiet. We're continuing to advance on all sides of the front. Kursk is being wrapped up very quickly, and partially because the Ukrainians pulled out what was left of their more elite units and just started stuffing in meat into it, so there's no point in keeping that bag going. Because blowing up meat's easy enough, but really what you want is those elite units destroyed. And when those elite units are showing up near Pokrovsk and areas like that, they're already pretty beaten up. So the effect was well worked. So yeah, so Kursk is being wrapped up very steadily, and the long-range rockets, missiles, they're not going to happen until after the elections. Now, once those elections are done, all bets are off. Because if Trump wins, they're going to make as much chaos as they can. The Biden-Harris regime of kleptomaniacs, thieves, and psychopaths. And if Harris wins, well, they're just going to continue escalating. Because they're too stupid to realize just how far this escalation is going to go, and that they can't control it. And Russia can always out-escalate them. But stupid people do stupid things, and unfortunately we all get to pay for that. So we'll live and see. So at least until November, mid-November, things will be relatively quiet. Then there's Georgia, where America and its henchmen are getting ready to try to overthrow the government. They got the elections on 26 in the Republic of Georgia, and the Georgian government really does not want a war with Russia, but the United States does. So they're going to be doing everything they can to overthrow that government. The liberal opposition has zero chance of winning the parliamentary elections. They're not even trying. Their job is to come out, be part of the elections. Once the voting is done and the counting starts, they start screaming that it's a stolen election, and they get their liberal international out on the streets to try to overthrow the government. The Georgians are ready. The Georgian Dream, the various conservative parties, they're actually getting street fighters together to back up the police and the SWAT teams and the military if need be, because this is going to get very, very serious. This is the last chance for the parasites in Washington, the Satanists, to grab power in Georgia and throw the Georgians into a fire of war. Whether or not any Georgians survive really doesn't matter, because just like Ukrainians, just like everyone, they're all just meat for these people. Just by the way, like you Americans and English and all the rest, you're still meat for your owners. You're just a little closer to home, so maybe they're sparing you for something later. By the way, when they say the golden half billion or golden billion that should survive, do understand the concept there. You're not going to be golden. Golden's going to be the top 1%. Another 20 or so percent is going to be the ones that serve, educated. And the rest are just going to be the peasants toiling on the farms and things like that in the factories. They're going to be golden only in that they get to live, and nothing more. So do understand that, by all means. So, anyways, where were we? So, unless she's taken it down, Harris had a nice little thing on her website where she promised, once she's elected president, to give the Ukrainians $540 billion. So all you victims of Helen and any other hurricane, any other disaster, who may get $750, the Ukrainians will get $540 billion with a big B. Feel used yet? You damn well should by this point. Yeah. And then you get the Polish elites. Yeah, there was a Polish general who has now threatened, since Poland is buying 800 long-range missiles, to wipe out, he's a retired general, he's publicly threatened to wipe out St. Petersburg if, in the words of wipe out, if Russia has any, if there are any military action within Russia and the Baltic statelets, which, by the way, are pumping terrorists, trying to pump terrorists across our border, that are purging Russian, well, they're not citizens. They never gave them citizenship, even though people were born in those areas. Refusing it, they're actually kicking out elderly people, pensioners who are in their mid-80s, early 90s. I mean, these people are animals in power there. And there's the question where some of these drones, longer-range drones, are coming from. And they are coming from the Baltics. I mean, I'm sorry, the Baltics, Pribaltica. So, yeah, it's getting very, very hot, to say the least. So that's where we're at right now. So Poland, yeah, is threatening to wipe out St. Petersburg, or one of its generals. Of course, if they try to do that, I can describe to you what's going to happen to Poland. It's going to be a big hole in the map. There won't be a Poland. Now, I've known quite a few Poles who are normal people, who are rational people, who aren't psychopathic Russophobes. I don't know how much of a percentage that is. I'd like to believe it's more than a few. One of my guests on my channel that has come on several times. I'm going to have him back. Mikhail Krupa is one of those people. Very rational. We may not agree on all historical facts, but I don't want everybody to always agree with me either, because then there's no growth and no discussion. But he's a very rational, normal human being who isn't wrapped up in psychopathic, self-destructive Russophobia. Well, with all those polls, you need to gag the idiots that are in power like Duda, the idiots that make these kinds of threats, the idiots that are putting you and your children's lives in very big danger. Because even if they don't really want to start a war, loose tongues can have some very, very bad results in cases like this. So let's just hope the idiot parade there doesn't bring anything to fruition. Yeah. Oh, I need to go down there in that area, videotape. So yeah, walking Moscow, old city Moscow. There's a lot of renovations. Those are they're building a giant hotel convention center there. They're keeping the facade of the old building that was there, and then they're putting in the rest behind that facade. The old building was Tsarist era building, so a lot of constructions all over the area. Anyways, yeah, tourist season's a little off. The streets are relatively empty compared to what they're normally. So, what else have we got? The North Koreans. The North Koreans are coming. Never mind. There's no proof of that. No, the whole West is now up in arms that the North Koreans are going to be fighting the American mercs and the British mercs, and the Polish mercs. Oh my. By the way, we have plenty of Koreans who are Russian citizens in the East and other areas. So who they actually saw, if they saw anybody, is under a very, very big question. But yes, we have plenty of citizens who are Asiatic, and plenty of them who are actually Koreans, loyal Russian citizens. So it's just another one of those, we need to scream about something. So let's go scream about something. And they do that a lot. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be too on any of the Western media. Interesting news, Dmitry Sims, who used to run the Reagan Center, I think it was called. The FBI raided him, his wife. As he said, they left his pistol on the table as a nudge to go just shoot yourself. And now he's come out and said that he's got credible evidence that the CIA, along with the Ukrainian special services, are planning his murder assassination. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. At this point, nothing would surprise me in the least from what the Biden-Harris regime is more capable of doing. Now, as far as Vance, Martian Vance, when Vance comes out there and says, once Trump is in power, he's going to bring up Putin and he's going to say, enough is enough. Okay. And like as Vladimir Medvedev said, and what happens when we say no? Because, no, it's not enough. Stopping this war for what? Because it's not going to stop this war. It's going to give, doing an armistice, pausing this war so that NATO can build up Ukraine again and plenty of its own mercs and get its own military production up to speed so we can have a bigger war. Why the hell would we stop? That's right, because we're stupid white apes that'll believe anything the West says. Not. But, so yeah, the West really at this point wants this war to pause. It doesn't want it to stop. It wants a pause. And from our side, not too many people are interested in a pause. We're interested in stopping the war by destroying the enemy once and for all. And if that means Russian troops are going to be sitting on the Polish border, then Russian troops will be sitting on the Polish border. True, the Polish border may be east of its present location by a few hundred kilometers. Because more likely, as Putin already said, we don't care what happens to those western provinces, as long as they're not Nazified Ukrainians. And the Poles will take care of those Nazis anyways. They're backing them now because they're fighting us. But when Poland's going to have to deal with them themselves, they'll exterminate them with absolute prejudice, lethal prejudice. And that's a guarantee, absolute guarantee. Not the first time in Polish history doing something like that. So, that's Moscow, old city of Moscow. It's an interesting mix between really old architecture from the 15th century, 16th century, more modern from the 18th, 19th century, and some very modern Soviet and a bit of post-Soviet. Mostly it's really old. I mean, you still got the city wall, things like that. So it's interesting things to come see if you're ever in this part of the world. But not the only place. So that's what we're looking at right now. I'm going to be posting an article soon. I have a lot of articles posted in the Patreon site for Exit Strategy World, ESW. You need to come out there and see it. I'll put a link in the description. And this article will probably, in the next couple of days, it'll pop out on the fact that the West, if had been paying attention, by 2019, 2020, so COVID era, should have figured out that Russia wasn't going to fold, if anybody was actually paying attention. Because the article I wrote back then, I'm going to, of course, update it, goes over all the hospitals, all the manufacturing that Russia was able to put up on its feet and mass manufacture medical equipment that earlier was either very small batch production or was imported. Hospitals that Russia was able to put up from zero foundation and up, and not temporary hospitals or permanent hospitals, and so on and so on. So anybody who was paying attention to that should have figured out that no, Russia's not going to fold like a cheap suit. Your sanctions aren't going to do jack. But nobody was paying attention because that's how the West rolls, stereotypes and things like that. So we don't have to worry about much, like intellectual analysis. Not when you got Applebaum and people like that who are screeching, just know how to screech anti-Christian, or I'm sorry, anti-Russian crap. And by the way, here's an example for you that's going to make the liberals scream, and that's good. Yeah, nativity scene. And you know what? That's how we roll, because we're a Christian country. So, not a big thing. It is for the snowflakes in the West. Oh, bloody well. So, and there's St. Nicholas, a big icon of St. Nicholas. So, that's typical Russia. That's how we roll. So anyways, we'll be doing more updates later. Always a lot to talk about, think about, and take care. God bless.